Hello, fight fans. Thanks for joining us at MMA Insider. Before we get rolling with today's news, show some love by hitting that like button and subscribing. Now let's uncover the latest happenings in MMA. Starting off, Max Holloway says UFC intentionally shelled away Ilia Topuria from him in favor of other contenders. Moving on, Makhachev laughs off the possibility of Conor McGregor returning to the UFC. Lastly, Paddy Pimblett shatters restaurant's chicken wings record amidst weight ballooning criticism. BMF title holder Max Holloway is looking to prove that the UFC made a wise move in not booking him against Ilia Topuria earlier in their careers. Holloway will face the UFC featherweight champion Topuria in the UFC 308 main event next month in Abu Dhabi. After 3 featherweight title losses to Alexander Volkanovski, Holloway is back in a featherweight title fight against the always dangerous Topuria. Holloway and Topuria have traded barbs in recent weeks ahead of their highly anticipated title matchup. After winning the featherweight title by knocking out Volkanovski, Ilia Topuria has supreme confidence in his ability to potentially dish the same fate to Holloway. Ahead of UFC 308, Holloway claimed the UFC has intentionally kept Topuria away from him earlier in their careers to build the up-and-coming star's confidence. During a recent episode of his Road to the Fight vlog, Holloway said the UFC intentionally kept Ilia away from him as the Georgian made his way up the ranks. Here is what he said. A lot of people are giving Ilia heat for the strength of his schedule that he had to the title fight, but he did what he was supposed to do. He won. He beat a guy that I had 3 times to beat, and he did it. He had the shot. But I believe that the UFC made me fight every other at featherweight for a reason. We're here now, and I'm gonna prove, come October 26th, why the UFC was shelling him away from me. Holloway will look to put on a similar performance to the one he showcased at UFC 300 earlier this year. 1 second away from a decision win, Holloway knocked out Justin Gaethje during a wild last-second brawl. UFC lightweight champion Islam Makhachev believes Conor McGregor won't fight again. Conor McGregor has been out of the cage for over 3 years now. Conor McGregor last appeared in the octagon in July 2021, suffering a broken leg in his trilogy bout against Dustin. Since then, the Irishman has repeatedly called for a return to the cage. Luckily, he was finally booked for his comeback earlier this summer. However, Conor McGregor didn't wind up competing. Just 2 weeks out from his UFC 303 bout against Michael Chandler, the former champion pulled out due to a broken toe. Despite hope that the Irishman would get booked opposite Michael in December, those plans didn't come to fruition. Earlier this week, Chandler signed a deal to fight Charles Oliveira in November. That fight announcement is a sign to Islam Makhachev that the Irishman isn't serious about fighting again. Speaking in a recent interview with Match TV, the UFC lightweight champion was asked about Conor McGregor competing. There, Makhachev largely laughed off the question, stating that McGregor is in the club more than the gym. Conor's return is already a fantasy. He tries to stay afloat with his language. He is more in clubs than in training. For what it's worth, Islam Makhachev's shot at Conor McGregor comes as no big surprise. Since the Irishman faced Khabib Nurmagomedov in the fall of 2018, the two camps have continuously talked trash about one another. McGregor himself has repeatedly called for a fight against Makhachev since the Russian became champion in 2022. UFC lightweight star Paddy Pimblett is thoroughly enjoying some downtime after his latest octagon victory. Pimblett took his family and went out to Furusato Bar and Grill in Liverpool, UK. During their meal, Pimblett wanted to attempt to break the restaurant record of 36 chicken wings eaten in one sitting. Pimblett, who is notorious for massive weight gains in between fights, passed the restaurant's wing challenge with flying colors. He finished 47 chicken wings and enjoyed some dessert afterward. The challenge consists of different wing flavors and takes place every Wednesday at the restaurant. Pimblett could potentially be invited to the Hot Ones podcast after his showing. Here is what he said: "I'm just a big fat bastard." Pimblett's latest indulging likely won't silence his critics. While he's never missed weight in his UFC career, many believe Pimblett's approach to his health in between fights isn't sustainable. Pimblett entered the UFC lightweight rankings with a submission win against King Green at UFC 304. He remains unbeaten in his UFC tenure with recent victories over Tony Ferguson and Jared Gordon. Pimblett might be just a few wins away from a lightweight title shot after entering the lightweight top 15. He recently teased a future fight with Charles Oliveira, who will face Michael Chandler at UFC 309 later this year. As Pimblett works his way up the ranks, he isn't slowing down his questionable diet. Regardless, he's enjoying himself as he prepares for his next octagon appearance. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. Your dedication and support fuel our passion to bring you the latest and greatest in the MMA world. If you enjoyed today's news, please give us a thumbs up and share it with fellow MMA fans. Remember to subscribe to stay in the loop with daily MMA updates. We've got a lot of exciting news, interviews, and analysis coming your way every single day. Your engagement helps us grow and serve the MMA community even better. Once again, thank you for being an integral part of our daily MMA journey.